Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, February the 4th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith. Mikey is back in the house. Matt Robinson is out this week as he is headed on the road with the Reno Ice Raiders on a hockey road trip. So it'll be Mikey with us today, tomorrow, probably just Alex and I on Thursday, which is also our Betcast day. We do want to remind you it's Patreon exclusive live Betcast Thursday this week, February the 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's our last Ice Guys live Betcast before the break for Four Nations. So make sure you join us for that Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And again, the only way to tune in to the Betcast and join us on the stream is to be a Patreon member. What a month of signups. We appreciate everyone that took advantage of the 50% off discount. We will have another discount offer down the road, but right now it's regular price, $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Get on board, and we'll see you there Thursday night for our next Patreon exclusive Ice Guys live Betcast. Just the one game last night, of course, in the NHL. So briefly on that, I got to say it treated me quite well, other than the first period over losing and the draw. I did have a small piece of the draw. Everything else was great. We had Ottawa. We told you on the show Sunday when we talked about that Sens Predators game, don't lay a price with Nashville right now. They stink. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Ottawa just the better hockey team. They looked like they were stuck in mud. Ottawa made Nashville look really slow at times last night in that game as well. But great road win for the Senators. They continue to play very good hockey. They're on a roll. The consecutive game win streak continues. And and it pays to be a Patreon member, because even though we had no show yesterday, we put out the Patreon card for that one game last night, that standalone game. And if you were a Patreon member, you saw that I had not one, but two bargain bin specials in that game, and they both hit. Parlay Pinto, Shane Pinto at plus 390 for Ottawa, and Ridley Gregg into the empty net to seal that game at plus 420. So 2-0 with bargain bin specials in that game. We cashed the best bet on that game for me was the over, full game, 5.5. So it was a really good result overall, and Ottawa keeps rolling. And look, there was no doubt Nashville was already out of the playoff race. Just another lower that casket even further, after last night. Nashville is looking nothing but sellers at the trade deadline. Alex, thoughts on what we saw last night?
Yeah, Trashville. That's right back where they are. And it's funny, and I was looking just the overall view. I like when there's one night, one game, 2 game nights, I look at overall like the standings and everything like that. And I just look and I go, Minnesota's sitting right where Nashville should be, and Nashville sitting right where Minnesota should be. That's based on how I felt at the beginning of this year. And it's just interesting how this Predators team, and every night it just baffles you because there's so much talent on this team. It's not like, oh, there's a cavalcade of injuries and they had to call up all these guys from Milwaukee, or they made trades, or they weren't getting along. It wasn't like a Vancouver situation. It's just that this team there's just something there where they're just not able to click consistently, period by period, game by game, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a brunette thing. I don't know if it's just because you added so many new pieces and they just never got it. Haven't got it. It's still in February 4th. Haven't had a chance to gel as we're heading into a break. Like, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's maddening. And there's a few teams I have on a list where it's not just I'm swearing off from betting them completely, but I mean, their games just don't light up anything on my radar. And Nashville's one of those teams. Unless I'm looking to just outright fade them, and there's a good opponent and a reasonable price on the other end. I mean, there's just no way I could just, support Nashville with any of my money right now.
No, it's very, you got to pick your spots very carefully if you're going to jump on them. Mikey, good to have you back. What did you think of last night's lone NHL matchup?
Appreciate it. Yeah, just like what I was going to say, exactly what Alex said. It boggles your mind how Nashville just can't find any consistency. I mean, they should have serviceable goaltending between the pipes. The roster should be producing, and it's just not. I don't know if it's a coach's thing, but I'll be interested to see who they dump and what they do in the offseason, because I was not expecting them to be where they're at right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, Nashville's going to the golf course after the regular season ends. That's about it. Playoffs, not a chance. They're like 16 points back or something of the wild card spots. Unreal how much of a hole they have dug themselves with this dismal, disappointing season they've had. Let's not be dismal. Let's not be disappointing with our bets tonight on the Tuesday NHL card. So let's flip it. It's a huge slate. We got 14 games tonight in the NHL. So we will dive right in and get it rolling, starting with a good one of the better games of the night, the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. We've got Florida minus 120, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. You know, the bets that have done well for me this season, trusting teams to avoid a losing streak they have not yet had this season. Look at the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday. Love Toronto against Edmonton on Saturday. Talked about it. This team hadn't lost 4 games in a row yet this season, and they have still not lost 4 in a row because they beat Edmonton on Saturday night to avoid their first 4-game losing streak of the season. You want to know how good a season it's been for Washington? Do you know they have not lost 3 games in a row yet this year? Not 3 games in a row they have lost this season. Not even once have they lost 3 in a row. This tonight would be the first time they've lost 3 in a row if they drop this game to Florida. I'm taking Washington, at this price at plus 100 in this game. And I like what I'm seeing from Florida right now. It's not easy to go up against this defending Stanley Cup champion team right now. They're playing really well. We saw over the weekend they got the sweep over Chicago and the Islanders, but, Washington's a big cut above, maybe even 2 cuts above Chicago and the New York Islanders right now. Florida was, by the way, at the White House yesterday. Donald Trump had them there to celebrate the Stanley Cup win. So, look at that. And I don't want to say that's a letdown following that, but it's a big event, big deal. So how they come out tonight's going to be interesting, obviously, to see how it plays out. For me, I like Washington here, plus 100 in this game. They haven't lost 3 in a row yet. And look, the Winnipeg game could have went either way over the weekend. It was back and forth. It was not probably the best defensive effort we've seen from the Capitals lately. Winnipeg scored some really nice goals, though, and it certainly wasn't all Logan Thompson's fault, even though he maybe was a little bit lesser than he's been. I expect a bounce back from him. He's in net. Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida should be another great goaltending matchup here. Probably would lean to the under in this game. I think it's going to be one of those games. I think Washington, and knowing Spencer Carberry's track record, usually when his team gives up goals, he looks for them to tighten up the next game. So could be a lower scoring game, but I like Washington here, plus 100. And I don't mind the draw either. I think the draw might have some potential in this game here as well. Alex, what do you think here? Panthers, Capitals.
Yeah, there's some serious draw history with these two teams, so I will be sprinkling on that. But I'm going to take a shot with you and back the dog at home as well, except Florida. And it's funny, Rich H. Smith in the chat, the record for teams that visit the White House and then play the Capitals, that's such a hard thing to track because those trips happen in different times of the year for different teams. Also, it's never necessarily, it could be after the Washington game, and then they play Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. So it may be something to look into deeper, but I don't think it would really make a difference as far as like handicapping this particular game. But that's something I would just kind of like to know for future reference. Florida's, like I said, kind of up and down, and Washington, I'm worried about what this kind of like this little, I don't know, it was a little lull with Logan Thompson. And then I was reading the quote, I was looking back at goalie post, and it was just kind of making it seem like we're just kind of going game by game. And I'm like, kind of got me scared as somebody who now has a Vesna ticket invested in him. I don't want them to start talking about they're going to, maybe after the break start going 1A, 1B down the stretch, because I'm going to need him to kind of make up some lost ground on Hellebuck as someone who's holding a ticket there. But as far as, of course, obviously Capitals need him for the long run. So maybe if we see him have a rough night tonight, that could change how they start rotating these two guys down the line, especially after they come out of the break.
Yeah, definitely. That's a solid point. Something to definitely keep in mind. There's no question. Mikey, what do you like here? Florida, Washington.
Yeah, Washington finally lost 2 in a row, but it was only the 3rd time all year that happened. So they've been, in my opinion, they've been a model of consistency, and they have yet to lose, like you said, 3 in a row. Even though it's a series dominated by Florida and it's extremely difficult going against Florida, I'm taking a shot with them, short and sweet, even money, Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they've not lost 3 in a row. They've been good in these situations. So looking forward to, like I said, looking forward to seeing if they can respond one more time here in this one. tonight with the Panthers and the Capitals. As far as goal props, I do want to mention a couple, for this game that I'm looking at. For Florida right now, I would say that, Boquist on the second line looks like with Bennett and Tkachuk. Keep an eye on that. For Washington, obviously it's basically recycling a lot of the same names. PLD was a great player prop against Winnipeg. Obviously, we cashed a bargain bin with him that night. He certainly played better, probably the best he's played in a long time. You got to give Carberry a lot of credit for that. Protas, McMichael, Wilson, Dubois, they're always among the players I'm most targeting when it comes to the Capitals as far as finding the back of the net. All right, next up, we've got Minnesota and Boston. The Boston Bruins minus 130 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Bruins obviously coming off a pretty nice win against the New York Rangers Saturday afternoon. There were a lot of screw-ups and a lot of breakdowns defensively, which is not surprising for anyone that's been watching the New York Rangers this season. But certainly the benefactors of that were the Boston Bruins, of course, in that 6-3 win to snap a 2-game losing streak. They had dropped games to the Jets and the Sabres before that. So now they entertain the Minnesota Wild coming off a beatdown. And it truly was a beatdown in every sense of the word. Saturday night in Ottawa, not only on the scoreboard, losing 6-0, getting blanked, but 52-16, you were outshot in that game. Didn't it look like a team that did a little partying in Montreal after getting that big win for Marc-Andre Fleury last week in his final start for the Minnesota Wild, final start of his career in Montreal? And we called that. We thought Ottawa was a great spot Saturday night at home against Minnesota, and Minnesota was just terrible in that game. I think Minnesota's got a chance to bounce back here. I know Boston had the nice win against the New York Rangers, but off a loss like that, and obviously the big news in Minnesota land is obviously Ryan Hartman, the hammer getting thrown down on him. 10-game suspension for driving his forearm and elbow right down on the back of the head of Tim Stützle and driving it into the ice, something you just can't do. And obviously is a repeat offender. He's been involved in multiple on-ice incidents. So 10 games is not shocking at all to me that he got that amount. You got to send a message when it's been someone that's been involved in crap before. And like I said, they'll be without him. But again, Minnesota's been without a lot of different players this year, and yet they've been able to be competitive. They've been able to play good hockey. We'll see if that continues here tonight in this game with the Wild and the Bruins. I think the thing that stands out to me here about this game is just the price we're getting with the Minnesota Wild here. Plus 110 in that range is a road underdog. I think they're worth a bet here in this game. Minnesota plus 110 off that kind of loss. I think they have the capabilities to be able to go into Boston and win. Let's not forget the road record of this team is impeccable. 26-3 this year, the Minnesota Wild on the road. They had beaten Montreal and Toronto the first 2 games of the eastern part of this swing. So I think Minnesota plus 110. I like it at this price off a game like that. And obviously this is system play, right? So we're on it. First period over, full game over as well. Alex, what do you think here? Wild Bruins.
Yeah, I like the Wild here in this spot too. And like I said, this is a team that's dealt with a lot of absences all season long. This might be one where it's kind of, addition by subtraction. Ryan Hartman has not played to the level of which, and it was funny, I was looking back to see because I saw he was going to miss or lose $400,000 in salary. And I was like, man, it's a lot of damn money. Then you realize he had a $12 million 3-year deal that he signed. He hasn't played up to that level, in my opinion, at all. And I'm thinking now, with this being another incident on his record, he's kind of playing himself out of the string. Wonder if maybe he gets moved between now and a month from now. That wouldn't shock me one bit if they try to see if there's someone who would take him on. But because he doesn't add as much offense as he once did. That being said, this is a good price to back Minnesota, who's been dynamite on the road. You don't want to lay this kind of price with Boston, who's been kind of up and down. Both goalies have lost and had bad numbers against Minnesota. So back in the Wild, and as far as the system goes, I will be on first period and full game over, but betting those in game because we're getting cheap enough prices where we should be able to get plus money for both of those a couple minutes into the contest.
Yes. It is Marc-Andre Fleury versus Jeremy Swayman. That is your goalie matchup. By the way, Swayman and Korpisalo, Jonathan Davis pointed this out in our group chat earlier today. Both of those guys don't have good track records against Minnesota. Neither one, Swayman or Korpisalo. And by the way, I'm going to add the draw as well. because I'm just looking back, and the last 2 games in Boston with Wild versus Bruins have gone past regulation. So I do think draw might be worth a look there. 4-3 overtime games. One was won by Boston. The most recent one was won by Minnesota in Boston, 4-3 last year. So we're going to add a little draw. 2 draws to start the card, but it'll tick a lot of boxes as far as games with potential to reach overtime. What do you think here in this one, Mikey? Minnesota, Boston.
Yeah, so Minnesota's off a 6-0 loss, so I'm expecting a little pep in their step early on. If I remember correctly, even though these teams don't play that often, every time they faced off in Boston, it seemed like it was a 1-goal game. So I understand the draw, taking a shot with that. Fleury could be running on adrenaline at this point and just starts playing unbeatable hockey.
My honest opinion, he's been a little bit better than Gustafsson lately.
He has. And all these famous stomping grounds, like the Bell Center, tonight at the Garden. He's got MSG coming up in a month or 2, Detroit, Colorado. Those are some of the road games that he may start, and it's going to be his little farewell tour. So I don't know, these certain arenas, certain teams, he could just be one of those unstoppable goaltenders. So I'm not really feeling Boston tonight. I thought I was, but I'm just going to stick with the first period over. I'm not sure about the full game at the moment, but I locked in first period over 1.5 at $1.10.
Yeah, this is one of those where I didn't love the system play last night either. Nashville, Ottawa. I'm just fortunate we got at least one of the 2. First period over lost, but the full game over came back and won. This is the same thing. I don't love it, but because you never know with Boston. But Boston was in the system. No, actually, sorry, it was the Rangers. The team that was in the system play was the Rangers, but it was still a Boston game. With the Rangers Bruins. And I was a little leery of that system play. It flew over first period and full game. So hopefully that's the case tonight. We will see. All right, Columbus and Buffalo. Holy shit. It's the who's going to actually suit up and play bowl, if you will, tonight between these 2 teams. We got Buffalo minus 180, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. There is just a laundry list of injuries that we have to make note of. First for Buffalo, no Matthias Samuelsson, who is actually one of their better defenders and blue liners, because, it's a Buffalo team that struggles at times to keep the puck out of their net. And Matthias Samuelsson's actually one of their better defenders. Tage Thompson, there was some hope that he could still play tonight, despite taking that open ice hit from Stefan Nason against New Jersey, but he is day-to-day ruled out at least for tonight. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen projected in net, not confirmed. Elvis Merzlikins back in net for Columbus. And for Columbus, they were already without Sean Monahan and Boone Jenner, Erica Branson, Yegor Shinikov. And now they're down Dante Fabro on the blue line, a top 4 guy. Their best defenseman, Zach Werenski, is out for this game tonight. Kirill Marchenko, a long-term injury absence due to a broken jaw suffered in the game against Dallas over the weekend. So that is a lot. And at some point, you got to ask yourself, how much can we take as far as injuries are concerned right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets? So there's just too many injuries to take. And look, Buffalo's playing well right now on this homestand. Let's give them credit. They beat the piss out of Boston 7-2. We saw, obviously, they followed it up after that, taking care of Nashville 4-3, beating New Jersey 4-3, had to hang on. This is an interesting game because you could say, well, there's a lot of offense out of the lineup for both teams. So is it tough to bet an over in this game because of that? Yeah, perhaps. There was a thing I saw on Twitter X earlier. There's like 160 combined points out of the lineup tonight with these 2 teams, with some of their top bona fide scorers. But at the same point in time, you could say the defense is all screwed up too. Look at Denton Mateychuk's going to be a top, and I like Denton Mateychuk. He's going to be a good player on that blue line, good player in the league for Columbus, but you're going to put him on a top pair situation with Provorov at this stage of his young career. Is he ready for it? We'll see. Jake Christensen's a young kid playing with Damon Severson, Jordan Harris, Jack Johnson on the third pair. There's a lot of weakness now on that blue line for Columbus. You take Samuelsson off Buffalo's blue line, and suddenly, you're going to have to give more minutes to and he's struggling defensively, and it's tough to watch sometimes with Owen Power. But he is struggling mightily defensively at times this year, and it just hasn't lived up to the billing. But Bo Byram, Dahlin, Clifton, Power, Bryson, Yoki Haru is going to come in and replace Samuelsson. So there's still some questions back there. So you could say there's a lot of offense out, but there's a lot of questions defensively still for these teams. So bottom line is, we've talked about this with every recent Buffalo home game. the overs have been money. Buffalo home games, first periods have gone over, full games have gone over. So I'm still on the first or the over bifecta in this game. First period over, full game over. Might add Buffalo team total over as well, because I really worry about this Columbus blue line and how they're going to measure up tonight against Buffalo's and Buffalo's scoring right now at the moment. Now they do have to adjust for no Tage Thompson, but they adjusted. Isak Rosen is going to be in the lineup and on the top line tonight. Go look at his numbers at Rochester. This guy's like one of the leading scorers in the American Hockey League this year. Isaac Rosen here. He's going to play with Yuri Kulik and J.J. Peterka. So Lindy Ruff and the Sabres have not only promoted him from the American League, they're putting him on the top line, and he's a guy that's been scoring in bunches down there. Now, the only question you ask is, can that translate to the NHL? But boy, oh boy, he has been excellent for this Buffalo, or he's been excellent in the American League with Rochester. Let's see if he can score here for this Buffalo Sabres team. So they're going to give him a shot. You got a guy that's been lighting it up in the American League level. We'll see. He's got big shoes to fill because he's taken the next spot that Tage Thompson had. But we'll see if he's able to. I see Fantilli in, Bailey. I don't think he's out. The Fantilli's in from the last I looked in this game. I don't see any absence of unless something's changed last minute. But as of now, Fantilli's playing for Columbus, which is huge because they lose him. They're already without a lot. If they were to lose him too, that would be big. I'm still on the over by Fecta. Probably bet a smaller Buffalo team total as well over here in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Blue Jackets, Sabres, lot to unpack.
Yeah, it is a lot to unpack in it. But the one thing I was just looking when you said about Isaac Rosen being on the top line, the books are respecting him because he's plus 290 as a goal scorer at FanDuel. So that's something you don't see.
How the hell would they price him like that? Someone must have told them, like, hey, price him accordingly.
Somebody's paying attention.
What he's doing down there. Someone is paying attention.
Yeah, someone came in earlier than even us and started hammering that. But I thought that was fascinating. But yeah, this, like I said, with so many guys out and the fact that there's a lot of defensive parts moving, like I said, my instinct would normally be to go over. But then, like I said, there's a lot of production offensively that's missing, especially for Columbus and a Buffalo team that we know, like Columbus, they can just go completely cold, especially without Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson is one of those heartbeat guys, right? Like that team just looks completely different when 72 isn't in the lineup. So this was going to be a pass for me as a pregame, and I might look for something in-game because, as I said, it's just too wide of a variance. This game could go 7-6 or be 2-1 in a shootout. I just got to wait and see.
Yeah, with the season Werenski's had this year, his absence this year means more than it maybe did last year too. Now they would have missed him last year, 2 years ago as well. But the way he has been just an absolute beast, an absolute rock on that blue line for Columbus all year and the point production, they will really miss him this year. Like that is a big, big gaping hole now that they have to fill with the way Zach Werenski has played this year for the Jackets. Like I said, a lot of moving parts. But we've been riding these Buffalo home games over the total, first period and full game, so I'm still on it. Maybe lower the units a little bit on this one tonight because of all the uncertainty, but I still like it. Mikey, what do you think here? Columbus, Buffalo.
Yeah, anytime Buffalo is a large favorite like this and off 2 or 3 wins in a row, I'm interested in considering the other side. I talked about it last night. I didn't understand why Buffalo was minus 170-ish or whatever it may be. So I did lock in Columbus last night around plus 150. As you indicated, no Tage in this one. That will certainly hurt the Sabres offense. My concern about Columbus as well, this is their 8th road game in their last 9 games. They had 2 long road trips with only 1 home game in between. Now they did have 4 or 5 days off after that last home game, but still just 8 out of your last 9 on the road. So I feel like they're itching to come back home. I was wondering why the line didn't budge with the Tage news, and then we found out who's out for Columbus. So I'm not really a cash out guy unless it's a significant amount of money, and I'm not going to cash out on this one because it's my normal unit amount that I bet. But I mean, I did lock in Columbus, but right now I don't feel comfortable with it. But that's who I took last night.
Yeah, a lot of props. This is a good prop game. These are the games we love chaos when it comes to goal props because with the lineups, because we know we're going to get value. Isaac Rosen, even at plus 290, look, not the greatest value. I'm betting it just because of how good he's been. Yuri Kulik, we're back on looking at his prop. Ryan McLeod's been heating up lately. Zucker's never a bad. Zucker was one of the vocal players after the lack of response to Tage Thompson's hit the other night too. So, I would expect a good game from him. For Columbus, Cole Sillinger is moving up to the top line tonight with Fantilli and Voronkov. So, and I think Cole Sillinger is absolutely a terrific goal prop tonight up on that top line for the Jackets. The old man, JVR, James Van Riemsdyk's been good. And by the way, for Sillinger, it's 3 straight games with a point, 2 goals in the last 3 games as well for Cole Sillinger. So that's a good prop. JVR on the Kent Johnson's another one. They're moving up Luca Del Bel Belouz, LDBB, as I like to call him. He'll be up on the second line centering that group. So there's some good options. All of those that I mentioned, like I said, I think if you just sprinkle even amounts across the board on all of those players I talked about, I think you'll hit a couple at least here tonight in this game. All right, New Jersey and Pittsburgh. We've got New Jersey minus 140, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. You got the Devils. By the way, speaking of Buffalo, it was New Jersey that lost, obviously, to the Buffalo Sabres on Sunday by a score of 4-3. We'll see if they can bounce back here in this game. Of course, they've had that 4-game losing streak. They've gone 3-2 since then. Pittsburgh off back-to-back wins, but you look at these wins. Utah 3-2 to end that road trip. Utah never wins at home. Utah's just a horrific home team. I don't want to go nuts about being impressed with Pittsburgh winning that game. And then you shut out Nashville, who we just saw last night, not very good against the Ottawa Senators in that game. And yeah, Pittsburgh shutting them out. Big whoop as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't really move the needle to me when I look at it. So I think it's a good spot for the team that's the better team off a loss, bouncing back here. New Jersey's owned Pittsburgh 8-2 in the last 10 meetings versus the Penguins. As long as it's below minus 150, and it is, I like it. New Jersey here, minus 140 for me in this game. I think they bounce back, get the win here in this one. And by the way, for Pittsburgh too, blue line weakened, obviously, with the trade of Marcus Pettersson, obviously, to the Vancouver Canucks. Malkin's still on IR. Obviously, New Jersey with Hischier out, concerning. And, of course, no Markstrom. But, look, I like them giving Nico Daws the start tonight for the New Jersey Devils in this game because – Jake Allen is what he is, and we said on Sunday's show after shutting out Nashville or shutting out, who was it actually he shut out? No, it was, who the hell did he shut out now? I'm blanking on that, but he shut out, it was Philly, 5-0. And I said, watch, he's going to give up 4 goals and they're probably not going to win. And that's exactly what happened. So Nico Daws in net, I'm okay with that. I think New Jersey plays a good game, minus 140. I'm on them. Nedeljkovic has played well. Rich H, he's back in net, but like I said, you beat Utah at home, who never win at home anymore, and Nashville, who stink. Trashville, as Alex just said. So, like I say, neither of the wins do much for me as far as impressive me that what Pittsburgh did the last 2 games. Alex, what do you think here? Devils, Penguins.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was looking, I'm like, this is an awfully cheap price on New Jersey. You could even get them at even money in regulation. And then you said Nico Daws getting the start in that. He's better than Jake Allen. That's not saying anything. So I'm staying off of the side here. I'm going with the over by factor. I love this first period over. I even laid $1.26 FanDuel pregame. Usually that's something I'll kind of wait to drop down. I think we could maybe see a goal early in this contest. So first period over and full game over 6 minus $1.10. I got those pregame.
All right, over by factor here. Actually, you know what? As I look at it here, I'm pretty sure that let me see. New Jersey's kind of going the other way. Remember, they were on a bunch of unders and first period unders, New Jersey.
Right.
I think it's starting to kind of go the other way again, some of these last few games. So we'll see.
Might have something to do with that goaltender.
Yeah, that would.
No Markstrom, and now you're a little weaker.
That would. The reason why I think this is a price thing for me. Minus 140 when there's I know they're probably keeping New Jersey cheap price here, or cheaply priced. That's what I'm trying to think. I can't get the words out. Cheaply priced. They kept New Jersey in this game because of the Daws uncertainty. To me, in my personal brain here, and I know Alex keeps the goalie charts and the power, there's not much difference right now, Daws and Allen, right now for the New Jersey Devils. So that's why I think you're getting a bargain and a team off a loss, the better team anyway. Let's see them step up and get the job done here tonight in the Bird.
It's more predicated on the fact that how many times are we going to be able to lay 140 against Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the reason I would bet. It's not because if I'm going straight up against goalies, if I'm betting this Dawes against Nedeljkovic, I would probably actually lean a little more to Nedeljkovic, to be honest. So that's why I'm just staying with totals. But yeah, but I think that I can see why anyone. I see why you would bet why Ian you would bet the Devils. I see why anybody would bet the Devils. But I think it's more of we're not going to have too many times to lay 140 or less against the Penguins.
Yeah, no doubt. Mikey, what do you think here? Devils, Penguins.
Yeah, not too much in this one. New Jersey has dominated this series. And also when these teams meet in Pittsburgh, it seems to be a high-scoring affair. Dawes is who Dawes is. I mean, he wasn't great last year. I believe it was a .894 save percentage and a goals against average north of 3. And I do understand, I was feeling the same way. Why is the price a little bit too low on New Jersey? And if you look at how these teams play against each other in the division, Pittsburgh is 3-8 this season against teams in their own division, while New Jersey is 9-6. So I understand completely why people want to take New Jersey. I haven't locked in anything on this one, but I do understand why you would take New Jersey, and also the first period over makes sense. But right now, I got nothing on this one.
I just looked at Nico Dawes' numbers in Utica. 5-14-1 with a 3.4 goals against and an 888 save percentage.
Yikes.
In 21. Buddy's a bum.
Yikes. That's not what
Buddy's
you want to
a
hear
bum.
if you're on New Jersey. But
Who
defend
knows?
well. They can still, I think, defend well for
They're
one
going to have
night.
to really defend well
One night,
tonight.
one night he can be decent. That's all I'm asking. Then we can fade. If he has a shutout tonight, you can bet we'll be fading him next game, like Allen. You know, a mediocre goalie off a great start is always a good bet.
If he gives up 1 goal or fewer, we're fading him next game. Yeah, I'll write that down. Yeah.
Give me one good game, Nico. That's all I'm asking for. And then we can go against you next time. That's the way I see it. All right. Next up, we've got this is a good one. Ottawa and Tampa Bay. We've got Tampa Bay here minus 180. Home favorites in this game. The total 5.5. Look, significant scheduling dynamics in Tampa's favor. Rested, obviously. They haven't played since Saturday when they lost at home to the New York Islanders, and Ottawa's here on a back-to-back. But with Allmark back, you're giving me plus 150. Tampa can't put a puck in the ocean right now. I'm taking a shot with Ottawa. They actually have a winning record this year on the second night of a back-to-back as well. So the spot's not great. Well, I will be the first to say that, but at the price we're getting, I got to be on Ottawa again. They cashed a ticket for me last night. They're playing great hockey. Allmark's going to be back. Now, that could work in the other direction because he hasn't played in a while. You know, is he going to be on top of his game? We'll have to wait. Something to really watch for. It's good live betting. You know, if you see that maybe Allmark's fighting the puck early, then maybe you can bet Tampa live or something like that. But I would want Tampa to fall behind and get a better price on the Lightning before I back them. At minus 180, not a chance. And I think pregame, the value is on Ottawa. They're playing great. They're on this consecutive game win streak. They're playing with great confidence right now. At this price, I am on Ottawa. It's not a significant bet or significant position, but we got to keep taking them at this price right now with the way they're playing. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa, Tampa Bay.
Definitely a wait and see live game for me because this could be a game if Allmark is on point. I would love for a goal early and then go at the live under. But if, like I said, if he's kind of fighting it, if in that defense, if they look a little, you know, like I said, they've done well on the second night of back-to-back. They actually won 4 of their last 5 on the second of back-to-backs, Ottawa. So if they look a little tired on the back end and not kind of, you know, winning those puck battles early, then I might, like I said, hope for an Ottawa goal and then back Tampa, money line coming back, look at over. So there's different ways I can go based on the first couple minutes of this contest.
Yeah, by the way, under runs for both teams. First period under for Ottawa, 10-2, 4-0 for Tampa Bay. And actually, I lean under in this game. Certainly first period, but full game even, I could see this. Like, Tampa's just not a team I'm running to bet and over with right now. Their offense is scuffling, sputtering right now.
And yeah, and I like full game under more than first period under, just off of the fact we don't know what we're going to get from Allmark.
Yeah,
Allmark gives up a goal quickly. Now you're screwed holding it at under 1.5 potentially. So I would, if I'm looking at an under by Fecta, which that's something we don't really do too often, if at all, it would be more leaning toward the full game for me.
Ottawa, that massive under run full game, and all of a sudden, actually, believe it or not, 3 straight overs for the Ottawa Senators. The Washington game, Minnesota, although they did all the scoring. and then Nashville. All three of those games went over the total. But Tampa's gone under in 4 straight full game to go with that first period under. So, like I said, we've got conflicting totals trends, total streaks for these two teams right now. Mikey, what do you think? Ottawa, Tampa Bay.
Back-to-back for Ottawa, but they're playing so well that, like you said, Ian, it's tempting taking a shot with them here as a road dog. 5-game winning streak, and they're averaging 4.2 goals per game during this winning streak. Tampa hasn't been all that impressive for over a month now, if you look at the schedule. And we see this from them every year, although usually it's a little bit later in the year. They started a little bit early this year. Tampa finished 7-9 in January. They're already off a loss here in February. Just seems like they might be ready for the break coming up. I don't know. Tampa has also had great difficulty within its division. 3-9 this season facing teams within their division, where Ottawa is 7-4-1. Ottawa has also handled this team in 6 out of the last 7 meetings. And in those 7 meetings, Ottawa is averaging 5 goals per game against Tampa. Another thing in favor of Ottawa tonight is Vasi hasn't been that good in his career against Ottawa. 8.91 save percentage and a goals against average north of 3. So I love Ottawa team total over 2.5 at $1.08, and I'm considering the money line, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet.
All right, so Ottawa team total is what Mikey prefers with them here in this game tonight. Yeah, as far as goal props for this game, I'm going to ride Ridley Gregg and Shane Pinto, my 2 bargain bin specials from last night's game in Nashville. I'm going to take them again. I think David Perron makes a lot of sense. His career, he has scored often against Tampa, and I like betting the players, as you know, that have had a hard time finding the back of the net. They finally see one go in, like last night for David Perron, and finally he's able to see it. And it gives you confidence. You're not gripping your stick, nearly as much. So I like those situations when someone that's been really struggling to score finally does that. So I think the David Perron goal prop worth a look. For Tampa Bay, I mean, obviously offense has been an issue for them during this losing streak, but it looks like Gensel, Point, and Kucherov, they're not going to break that up. John Cooper's not going to mess with that. But Mikey Eyssimont is being moved up with Cirelli and Hagel tonight in this game. So maybe a little value on with Mikey Eyssimont here. Girgensson, Nick Paul is probably still one of the players I always mention for Tampa Bay. But I think tonight is one of those nights where if it's going to happen for Tampa, you got to rely on your stars to do it. You got to rely on that dynamic top line, Gensel, Point, and Kucherov, who've had their chances, by the way, but you can tell the puck's just not been going in for them as much as a collective lately. We'll see if that ends up changing tonight and moving forward. All right, next up, Vegas Golden Knights, New York Islanders. We've got Vegas minus 145, road favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under. This is one where it's kind of like pick your poison. I mean, Vegas, I don't trust Vegas on the road, and I'm not interested at minus 145 right now with the Vegas Golden Knights on the road. They've lost 3 in a row. They're just 2-8 in their last 10 games. I mean, they lose to the Rangers. They lost 2 in a row at home against Columbus and Dallas before that. It's not been great. They lost to Chicago, Carolina, Nashville on that last road trip they had. Their only win on the road was at St. Louis. They've been a bad road team lately, the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'd have to lean Islanders here, but here's the thing. I think Islanders were playing a little over their heads during that win streak. They came back down to earth. They lost 6-3 to the Florida Panthers. They're a streaky bunch, the Islanders. I could see them going on a bit of a skid now after having the win streak snapped. The one thing I do like in this game, give me the draw. Islanders back in play. I think we've got a real chance for overtime here. 2 of the last 5 Islander games to overtime. 2 of the last 3 Vegas games have gone to overtime as well. And if you look at the history in Long Island, 3 of the last 4 meetings here in New York at UBS Arena, 3 of the last 4 with the Golden Knights and the Islanders have gone past regulation. And the one that did not was a 1-goal game in regulation, 3-2. So that one was very close to making it 4 straight games in Long Island between Vegas and the New York Islanders that have gone past regulation. So it's a great draw candidate, no doubt. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights, Islanders.
Yeah, if I had told you that one team has lost 8 of their last 10 games, the other team had won 5 of their last 7, you would think that the losing team would be the Islanders and the winning team would be Vegas. But
no
it's just it's weird to see these teams that are, play well and go in these rough stretches. We talked about like Tampa Bay going through a rough stretch, Vegas going through a rough stretch right now. But it's refreshing to see a team like the Islanders get hot and get on a run. They're still hard to watch, but they're getting the results they need right now. But this, like I said, screams draw. When you look at the history of these two teams against each other, specifically in Long Island, recent history as well. Both teams needing points. Vegas just needing to have a good game. Like I said, that's a moral victory they can have. If this is a 3-2 game, whether they win it or lose it, but it goes in overtime or a shootout, hey, we got out of there with a point. That's the thing. We just trying to stay afloat. And for the Isles, kind of the same thing in the other direction. Okay, we don't get a win, but at least we earn a point in the standings. We keep our pace in our races. So that's what draw season is all about, and this is a perfect candidate for it.
Yeah, Bo Horvat with good success against Vegas, says Jonathan. Hurdle with good success against Sorokin. Sorokin's really played well lately. There's no doubt. So, we'll see how that plays out.
Back to form.
Yeah, no doubt he's getting that. That's what's helped the Islanders during this run they've put together. It's amazing how you give me a good goalie, I give you a good team. And Sorokin's been a lot better lately. They're winning now. It's not that simple. It's not that hard sometimes, I should say, to figure out why a team's just on a little bit of a upturn or uptick like the Islanders are right now. What do you think here, Mikey? Vegas, New York Islanders.
So you know that Elmo clip where another Sesame Street character is singing in Elmo's ear about a pet rock and Elmo's just shaking, fuming, and ready to explode? I think that's Cassidy tonight if they don't play a solid game. I mean,
it's a good analogy there.
We
all watched Sesame Street as a kid, right? Come on.
That's honestly the funniest.
Yeah, even I did. Yeah.
Ever, so, I might be on an island here, but I think Vegas gets it done. Too many D-men on their injury report for the Isles, and you lose a playmaker like Barzal, who's such a main focus when he's on the ice. This team also just embarrassed you 4-0 in your own barn a few weeks ago. So, I think this is a Vegas spot. I took a -1 at plus 121.
That's a good point about the revenge because Islanders went in there and blanked them. Like that was a stunning win for the New York Islanders. They went into Vegas and just completely shut them down. And so that is something to factor in. Put it this way, I definitely am. I'm not on the Islanders. It's just from the pricing standpoint. -145 for me right now. The way the form of Vegas right now, it's difficult. To get there at -145, but I respect that you do. Vegas -145 for Mikey here in this one. I lean under the total as well. I think shouldn't the Vegas Golden Knights want to clean it up, defensively after what happened against the Rangers? Really, what's happened the last couple games. So, and like I said, Sorokin's been in better form. And by the way, the goaltending matchup, just to confirm it, Sorokin is in net for the Islanders. Projections are Aiden Hill for Vegas. Then not yet confirmed though on that side of it. All right, Edmonton and St. Louis. We've got Edmonton -180 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game with the Oilers and the Blues. This Edmonton team is, what I'm on, obviously. First period overs coming. You know that. 9 straight first period overs for the Edmonton Oilers. St. Louis had been on a big over first period run as well, but it has cooled off a little bit. Actually, it was the Utah game, I think, on Sunday night that cooled it off. I think prior to that, St. Louis had been on a very strong first period over streak as well. Binnington is confirmed in net for St. Louis. Jordan Binnington. Stuart Skinner is projected for Edmonton, but it's not yet confirmed at the moment. But this is one where, and this is definitely one of those deals where, we look at St. Louis. They are having a difficult time generating offense. They have scored 2 goals or less in 5 straight games. Thankfully, 2 goals was enough for them to beat the challenged Utah Hockey Club on Sunday night 2-1. But optimally, they're going to need to score more tonight if they hope to beat the St. Louis Blues. You got Edmonton coming in here off back-to-back losses to Toronto and Detroit. So we'll see how this one plays out. I'm going to go with a little Edmonton regulation split and team total over 3.5 split. I think this is definitely an Edmonton kill spot. St. Louis is not playing. They beat Utah. That was more about Utah just being a disaster right now, especially at home. I think for Edmonton, after the losses at home to Detroit and Toronto, they outplayed Toronto and Detroit, actually, shots-wise, but just couldn't tie the game against Detroit. Or they lost in a shootout. They just couldn't get that tying goal. Joseph Woll was outstanding. Feels like a spot for Edmonton to really clamp down. The only concern I'd have is that in St. Louis, they've actually lost 2 in a row, but I do feel Edmonton would be the way to go here with the team total over 3.5 and the Edmonton in regulation. And I like the over 1.5 first period, maybe a little smaller on the full game, because I will say this, the games in St. Louis have been a little bit more higher scoring. Well, actually, there was one that was 3-2, but there was also one that was 6-3. But I definitely prefer the first period over much more than the full game over here in this game tonight. Again, 9 straight first period overs for Edmonton. The first period over has been pretty damn good for St. Louis of late as well. Alex, what do you think here? Oilers, Blues.
Yeah, loving that first period over as well. Grabbed that this morning, but kind of leaning with you on that Edmonton look. And I'm kind of looking at MGM, trying to get to the parlays. You can get Oilers to win over 4.5 goals minus $1.10. So that's one way to play that. You can also just go regulation money line minus $1.20. I saw that at Bet Online. So I more than likely will end up going the regulation route here with Edmonton to go along with that first period over.
Not only 9 straight, 11-1 in the last 12 games, first period over. So this is not quite Chicago level of greatness with the first period over, but it's starting to get there. Yep. With the Edmonton Oilers, no doubt. Of course, Chicago 17-2. Hello, Chicago. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night against Edmonton, who are on a crazy ass first period. It's the class of the first period over Kings.
TNT, yeah.
Which means 1-0 after the first period tomorrow night.
Right.
But, no,
maybe.
We're not even going to allow ourselves to think that. Right. Mikey, what do you think here? Edmonton, St. Louis.
Yeah, first period over 1.5. That's all I have in this one. And Edmonton's off 2 losses in a row, so they're going to come out here in the first period and get at least a couple on their own. So first period over 1.5.
Good stuff. Yeah, first period.
Hey, we laugh and joke about that, but right now, Oilers Blackhawks minus 130 on the over 1.5 at DraftKings. If Oilers score and go crazy in the first period tonight, that won't last. So I'd advise everyone, if you do like the first period over tomorrow with the Hawks, grab that early.
Yep, Cuban Wayne Gretzky. I was just about to lead into that when you mentioned it in our chat. Holloway, of course, got to take him tonight against his old team. Didn't he score in Edmonton when they faced the Oilers earlier this year? No doubt.
And that was a bargain bin.
Holloway. Yes, we're gonna tonight, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bargain bin pick of yours when he scored against them. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. Back to the old well tonight. This is the time, against his old team, and not to mention if you really interested. Yeah, like I said, Holloway, maybe Broberg doesn't score much, but another former Oiler that's now with the St. Louis Blues. If you feel really frisky, and want to take a shot there with that. No doubt. As far as for the Oilers, Corey Perry, Chris Knobloch's got him with Draisaitl and McDavid on a new look top line. Corey Perry trying to get a little greasy, compliment to Draisaitl and McDavid on that top line for Edmonton. So definitely some value with Corey Perry as long as he stays up on that top line. We've got the Nuge, Hyman, and Arvidsson, the second line. Jeff Skinner. Adam Henrique and Kasperi Kapanen in your third line. Skinner's actually started to pick it up lately offensively, so there's another one. But yeah, Dylan Holloway is my favorite goal prop for sure in this game with the Oilers and the Blues. All right, let's keep it rolling. Carolina and Winnipeg. Next up, we've got Carolina minus 140. Road favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5, shaded to the over in this game. And the reason why we've seen the move toward Carolina is, and this always happens when Connor Hellebuck is ruled out and Eric Comrie is in. The betting markets go crazy, and they say we got to fade Winnipeg with Eric Comrie in net. And that's exactly what they're doing here. Kochetkov confirmed in net, of course, Pyotr Kochetkov for Carolina. That being said, when you talk about Comrie, he did pick up a win in his last start, 5-2 over the Calgary Flames. Now, before that, he did lose to Calgary. He lost to L.A. In overtime, and he lost to Colorado as well. So I get it. And then he lost to Anaheim. There's a lot of L's, no doubt. But, minus 140 on the road with Carolina, I'm not comfortable, with Carolina on the road in this kind of price range. I'm not on Winnipeg either. But to me, it's just you're paying a premium to take Carolina, because I'm not convinced they're the better team, even with Comrie and net. Winnipeg just keeps on proving, at least regular season wise, they keep on proving the doubters wrong. They got to show it in the postseason now, especially their goalie, Connor Hellebuck. But 6 straight wins. They beat a very good Washington team. They beat Colorado during this run as well. They're playing really well. They're starting to score goals too. Don't look now. The Jets, man, 5-5, 4-6-5. They have scored at least 4 goals in 5 straight games of late. And for the first time in ages against Washington, Winnipeg wins a game without keeping a team to 2 goals or less, which we've talked about for a long time here on this show. So we'll see how this one goes. This is definitely one game where it's not much pregame total. I'm not that interested. I mean, 5.5 with Comrie, I guess I lean over, but you got Kochetkov, who I prefer to Anderson for Carolina. I could see maybe Winnipeg. Winnipeg's one of those teams, too. We're often over in a 5-4 type game. I don't always like coming back to an over with them. And at home, they really look to tighten things up. So we'll see how it plays out. But like I said, Winnipeg obviously has been playing some really good hockey. Yet, actually, believe it or not, 4 of their last 5 games have gone over the total. So maybe a mild lean to the over with Comrie and net, but I don't love it. Nothing super strong. Alex, what do you think here, Hurricanes?
Yeah, maybe look at some of the totals in game because I'm seeing even $1.16 for the first period over. So I can wait a little bit and try and get that to cross over into plus money territory. But yeah, this line moving, somebody saying they got Canes minus $1.10 before the news of Comrie. That was a great pickup. There's a reason that this line has moved that far with Comrie confirmed, even though there's Winnipeg on a 6-game win streak, right? We've seen Winnipeg play well with Comrie earlier in the season, especially when that team gets hot and on a roll. But yet, here they are sitting at home dogs. That's kind of tricky. So my gut is telling me Carolina, but I can wait for whatever I'm looking for live.
Yeah, if I'm going to bet Carolina, I'm going to wait till Winnipeg's leading. I'm not laying minus 140 with them. Right. Then maybe I'll jump on Carolina, which I actually might do because I think the value swings significantly to Carolina if they fall behind early because against Comrie, they're probably never out of the game, and so they'll have that chance. And we've talked about Carolina's road problems this season. But they've been a little bit better on the road lately. 3 of their last 4 away from home they've won. They beat Chicago. They beat Dallas. They beat the Rangers 4-0 in a shutout, their last road game. So we'll see how it plays out. So they have been a little bit better on the road.
They're getting offense on the road. And that was the issue. They couldn't get consistent offense. Though. Now that they're getting some offense on the road and kind of getting back to – I would love for them to get back to that whole 3.5 team total run that we had earlier in the year. If they get back to that, then they can maybe, kind of stay afloat and battle with these goalie issues.
Yeah, Carolina falls behind. Then maybe I get a Carolina interest at plus money. But pregame, I'm not laying a price of minus 140 on the road against a team that has 5 regulation losses at home this year, which is Winnipeg. It's not the price point I'm interested in. Mikey, what do you think here? Carolina, Winnipeg.
Yeah, so Carolina went up in price, like you said, with Comrie confirmed. And people will sometimes just auto fade this guy, but he hasn't been that bad, okay? 2 goals or less in 3 straight, although it was against Calgary twice and LA. This is only his 6th appearance at home. Bulk of his work is on the road, where he has a goals against average north of 3, but at home it drops down to 2.43. I think this is getting a bit much on Carolina. I know Winnipeg is on a massive run and facing a non-conference opponent, but I'll wait and see if more money continues to come in on Carolina and decide if I want to take a shot with Winnipeg or not. Also, Kochetkov has played 16 on the road and 16 at home. He's 12-3 at home, 7-6 on the road with a .897 save percentage. I think Winnipeg can get at least 3 goals, but over 2.5 is at like $1.60. So I'll just wait and see what happens live.
Yeah, I think they could hit 3, but like I said, the price is just a little too much there for that pregame at least. All right, prop wise, there are some props I'm interested in, and Rico in our chat, good friend of the show, mentioned that there's a couple. Seth Jarvis is a Winnipeg guy. So Seth Jarvis for Carolina and Martinuk for Carolina is a Brandon, Manitoba man. So there you go. Guys playing close to home might be looking to find that back of the net. And they're on the same line with Jordan Stahl, Seth Jarvis and Jordan Martinuk. I like Jackson Blake. Rantanen, we've talked about how he started to pick it up lately. But Jackson Blake's got great value on the top line right now for Carolina. For Winnipeg, I would say right now you want to roll with, take your pick. Velarde, Perfetti's been better lately. Kyle Connor's been obviously terrific. So those are always the ones I'm most interested in goal prop wise for Carolina. All right, we've reached the game that is just I get nightmares. I feel like the hives I'm going to break out talking about this team right now. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Utah Hockey Club. We've got Utah minus 140 home favorites, 5.5. Tell me, what do you do with this? The hell do you do with this fucking hockey game? What the hell do you do with it? Other than maybe throw it in the trash heap and not watch it. How do you lay minus 140 with Utah at home? How does anybody? How do you lay minus 140 with the Utah Hockey Club at home against anybody right now? Yet the one team you might be able to lay minus 140 at home with Utah against is a fucking team that hasn't scored since the 18th century, or at least it feels like it right now, because 3 straight games without scoring a goal in the NHL feels like an eternity. And it is now Philadelphia off 3 straight losses, which means this is the double super system players. I call it the super stinko play. That's what I'm calling this, the super stank play, because we've got to trust a Philadelphia Flyers team to come out of hibernation after 3 straight shutout losses in a row. So this is a system play. I have not bet a system play as little from a dollar amount perspective as I will this game. This is not something I'm running to the betting window with. We're betting it because it's the system, but this is probably the least confident I've ever been in a system play since we've started betting it and tracking it every single day. But you got to bet it, and Philadelphia isn't going to go, 35 more games this season without scoring a goal. It will happen eventually. But like I said, they traded away Morgan Frost. They traded away Joel Farabee. And, they're trying to find chemistry and cohesion in their forward group, and they're not finding it, the last few games since that trade with Calgary. So that's a problem. Samuel Ersson, by the way, in net for Philly, Vejmelka for Utah. The good news for Utah is I know Logan Cooley's still out. They've been offensively challenged too, Utah. They haven't been able to score goals, but they get Dylan Guenther back, and that is huge. They are just crying out for any help they can get offensively right now. And to get Dylan Guenther back, who was playing very well before his injury, for a team that scored 2 goals or less in 5 straight games, all of them losses for Utah, to get Dylan Guenther's scoring touch back in the lineup is a big deal, no doubt, for this Utah Hockey Club team. So, again, we've got to hold our nose. We've got to cross our fingers. We have to say some prayers. Maybe do a little of all 3, but for better or worse, system play here. Super stinko system play for me here. Flyers in Utah. Alex, what do you think here? Philly, Utah.
This is that old Mike Singletary game for me. I can't watch it, can't bet it, can't do it. I got nothing here.
I love that. The Mike Singletary that Alex busts out when it's just a game that's just can't do anything with it. And I'm doing something with it because I'm high volume and I'm a little bit crazy. But we'll see how it goes. Mikey, what do you think here? Philadelphia, Utah. You're muted.
Sorry about that. So I'm a little speechless about Philly. They've cost me dearly the last few games. Multiple sources reporting Philly players weren't happy with the trades of Frosty and Farabee. They were well-liked, locker room guys and point producers on the team. Apparently, a few Philly players reached out to Calgary and told them that they just got 2 good players. So I can see a rift in the locker room amongst players and management. But it's been several days now, so the shock and awe should wear
I'm
off.
not backing a side in this game. You'd be crazy to, in my opinion. Yeah,
exactly. So, this team is just extremely snake-bitten at the moment. It's tough because, 3 games in a row they haven't scored. You'd think they'd find the back of the net today, but, nothing showed me that they were. So I don't really have anything in this one.
I don't blame you. I'm the only one, and I'm with the system play, man. I don't feel good about it, but we're betting it. So we'll see how it goes. again, I think we'd be reaching historic proportions if they were to get shut out in a fourth straight game, the Philadelphia Flyers, because I think the last time that's happened was like 1930 or something in the NHL. That's what I heard anyways, like 1930 or maybe 1942, something like that was the last time a team in the NHL has been shut out 4 straight games. So, but again, it's a system play. It's the first time ever. And remember how good the system play for the most part has been for teams that have been shut out in back-to-back games. This is now 3 straight games a team has been shut out. So, that's supposed to be a super strong system, but it's Philly right now, and they're having a tough, and Utah can't score, but Utah does get Gunther back. That is very significant. That will help.
In the event that Philly doesn't score again in this contest, they will become the 6th team in NHL history to have gone 4 games or more being shut out.
Yeah. Dubious distinction, for sure, no doubt. All right, Toronto and Calgary as the Leafs continue their Western Canadian road trip. Leafs minus 140 road favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under here in this game. I'm seeing rumblings that Mitch Marner might be out tonight for at least a game time decision. He's been downgraded to a game time decision for this game against the Flames. He's obviously had a terrific season. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, lost him, toss him. He's a game time decision as well for the Leafs. He got injured and left the game against Edmonton on Saturday. So we'll see how this one plays out here, Leafs and Flames. There's another one where hungry like the wolf, Dustin Wolf at home. Joe Woll confirmed in net for the Leafs. You talk about a good battle of young, burgeoning American goaltenders. Joseph Woll and Dustin Wolf. It's going to be fun to watch here tonight, no doubt. I don't want to lay minus 140 in this spot with Toronto coming off the big win against Edmonton, but I also don't want to fade them because they had a 3-game losing streak. They avoided their first 4-game losing streak. And sometimes a team wants to build momentum. Not just, hey, we win one to snap the 3-game skid. We want to keep it rolling. And off the top of my head, the Leafs in Calgary at the Saddle. First of all, there's a shit ton of Leaf fans. You're going to see a ton of blue jerseys, ton of Leaf jerseys in the crowd. It could be 50-50, honestly, because there were a ton of Leaf fans in Edmonton the other night. So it's not the same home ice advantage here for these Calgary and Edmonton teams, and Vancouver even, that it would be normally. Yeah, Leafs have won 4 straight over the Flames, and I know in Calgary they've won 4 of the last 5 here at the Saddledome, and I knew they had done pretty well here, but I don't really want to lay this price with them still. And Calgary's a feisty fucking team. I was so impressed. Calgary on a back-to-back after losing to Detroit Saturday night at home, went to Seattle. Now, did Seattle just shit their pants in the first period? Yes. Dan Bylsma, that's the worst challenge I've seen. They already reviewed it for goalie interference, and then he still challenges it. And, of course, he was going to lose. He threw it away. He gave them a 5-on-3. It was absolutely absurd. Calgary scored on it, and it killed them in that game. And, yeah, they made a comeback and fell short, but it was too little too late. It was a bad job by Bylsma with that challenge. Horrific challenge. Bad as it gets, in my opinion. But give Calgary credit. On a tough back-to-back, they went to Seattle. They won 3-2. It's a feisty bunch. I don't want to lay this price against them. But Toronto has owned them. So it's a pass for me from a side perspective, probably a pass for me from a totals perspective, but there are some props I like. It's a good prop game. There's a bunch I like here. We'll get to that in a moment. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Flames.
Yeah, this is the Goose Bowl, right? I mean, this got Toronto and Calgary.
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah. So, but this is a game. I was like you mentioned,
so he's not. Yeah,
right. This is a game where you got like I said, 2 quality goaltenders going head to head. These are, like I said, 2 of the top American goalies right now, and I think this is going to be a fun battle between those 2. I think this could be a lower scoring game. I like the draw here, but I also like the under. I laid minus $1.20 at MGM with that under 6 to go along with the draw.
Yeah, there's a lot of Morgan Frost's on the list. It's not just, but first of all, he got his first goal with the Flames against Seattle. He's been great. He played great even against Detroit, even though he didn't score in that game. He's been great. He's a threat to score every time he's been on the ice. He's been terrific in 2 games for Calgary. And his dad was the PA announcer for Toronto way back when. Andy Frost. How many times have I said that when we've talked about when he plays Toronto? So, yeah, Morgan Frost's on the prop radar. There's a bunch more, but we'll let Mikey talk first about his thoughts here. Toronto, Calgary.
Yeah, OEL's a game time decision as well. I'm strongly considering Calgary. Once I believe Wolf is confirmed, but last I checked, he was projecting. But anyways,
yep.
I think this is kind of a measuring stick game for Calgary. You got Toronto tonight, Colorado on Thursday, and then the Kraken on Saturday before the break. I mean, it won't be easy, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they squeak out a 3-2 win. So I haven't locked it in yet, but I am leaning towards Calgary in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a spot wise. I think it's a tricky spot for Toronto. Toronto's a better team, but better team. If you bet in every NHL game the better team, guess what? You get your ass beat. Betting this sport it doesn't work that way. It's not always that easy. And yes, obviously this is a big deal because he did not get a chance to play in Calgary after the trade to Dallas last year. Because they had already finished their games with in Calgary, at least. The Stars weren't on the schedule to go to Calgary to play the Flames after they got Chris Tanev at the trade deadline. But yes, Chris Tanev, I think, he's not a guy that scores a ton at all, obviously, but wouldn't it be some kind of magic? This is like one of those deals where you just put $2 on it and, if it loses, it's not going to break you. But if it cashes, boy, it would sure pay off a nice little sum. And that's Christopher Tanev here to score a goal for the Leafs tonight. Why not? Just a couple bucks, right? This is going to be a big night for him. He played a lot of years in Calgary there, plus 1,900, 19-1 at FanDuel for Chris Tanev to find the back of the net. So, like I said, I don't mind taking a look there for him maybe to get on the board. Again, keep it small. This is not a guy that's known for offense from the blue line, but that's not what he's there for. Obviously, 1 goal on the season, obviously, for Chris Tanev. But wouldn't it be a nice time to make it 2 potentially here tonight?
Maybe Tanev last goal.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah,
knowing that he's back home, and it's a spot
and
where
he's always on the ice protecting a lead. Obviously, a 1-goal lead late. Yeah,
maybe take a shot with him last goal. What that price has got to be enormous.
Oh, I'm sure it is. There's no doubt. It would probably be in the probably the hot 90 range, 80, 90-1, I would think.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. That's just an estimate.
Goals. Go to last goals at FanDuel.
Yeah.
Last goal scorer, Chris Tanev.
I'll check Bet365 out. Let me see.
50-1.
50?
Yeah, they cap everybody at 50-1 pretty much at FanDuel. There may be some
65 at Bet365, 65-1 there.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Hell, even a 50-1 worth a shot.
Yeah.
Why not?
Give it to him too if he's got a shot at the empty. If they see he's up in the neutral zone and he's got a chance to fire at the empty net and watch, whoever pass it to him, and there you go, give him a chance at it.
Crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened indeed. But I like Morgan Frost, like I said, for Calgary. He's been great for them in the first 2 games. Farabee on the top line with Kadri and Huberdeau. So I think Joel Farabee might be almost ready to maybe get his first goal with the Calgary Flames. Coronado's the other one that stands out. Coronado's been very good of late for the Flames. For the Leafs, too, Matthew Nyes, of course. Welcome back, Matthew Nyes. He scored, and that was Ryan Robinson's bargain bin special Saturday against Edmonton. Matthew Nyes, always worth a look. Pacioretty with that second, and McMahon. I think someone in the chat might have been Bailey that said McMahon's an Alberta kid, so Bobby McMahon, might be worth a look here as well for the. Well, he always is worth a look. He's played well for them. I know he's not with Matthews and Marner anymore, but yeah, Wainwright, Alberta product, Bobby McMahon. So maybe this will be a me and Bobby McMahon night once again here tonight for Toronto and Calgary. Good stuff there. All right, I think we hit everything. Mikey already talked about this one, so we can move on. Next up, we've got Detroit and Seattle. How about these Detroit Red Wings? What a friggin' job by them. I mean, they went to Calgary. It was a brutal spot for them in Vancouver, against the Vancouver Canucks in that game. Back-to-back, it's already been a long-ass road trip, and Detroit Red Wings just hang in there, and they find a way to win in overtime on Sunday night against the Vancouver Canucks. So what a run it's been for them. Seattle minus 115 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. This feels like the old, spot-wise, definitely Seattle, but how many times can you trust Seattle and get burned for it? I mean, my goodness, that Calgary game was a spot that was beautiful for them, with Calgary rolling in there on a back-to-back, and they still fucked it up, the Seattle team. I mean, how do you not take the Wings here? I am. Better or worse, I'm on Detroit here, minus 105. You can't, they're the much better team right now, the much, much, much better team right now. No question. And they're rolling. They're playing with great adrenaline. I know it's been a long-ass road trip, and maybe they've hit the wall. Fatigue sets in, but they're better than Seattle. This price is ludicrous, in my opinion, even with the spot. So Detroit minus 105, and I really like this first period over. You got two red-hot first period over teams right now. You've got Detroit that's been trending first period over. Seattle, long term. We talked about how good a first period over team they have been. Short term, 4 straight first period overs for both Detroit and Seattle. But for Seattle in particular, 14-3 to the first period over in their last 17 games. So this is definitely Detroit like that, but I like the first period over actually even more here in this game, over 1.5. I like the full game over too, but definitely superior of the two is the first period over portion of the bifecta. Alex, what do you think here, Detroit, Seattle?
Yeah, just strictly on first period over. Loving the spot quite a bit. And like I said, if you like a side, I think you'll have time to grab a little piece of whatever you like in game. I think this could go both ways. I may sprinkle a little on both teams to score in first period as well. But I definitely loving this first period over. Minus $1.10 pregame, and I'll add a little bit more as it crosses into plus money as well.
What I'm going to do too is I'm not going to put a ton on Detroit pregame, a little on Detroit money line pregame. I do think there's a chance Seattle could get on the board first because Vancouver did against Detroit on Sunday, and Detroit came back. Detroit's been the cardiac kids. They've come back and won a bunch of games lately. So I will sprinkle small on Detroit pregame. Let's see if Seattle gets a lead, and I will absolutely add more on Detroit live if they're trailing because you'll get better price. And we've seen Detroit prone to comeback wins. We've also seen Seattle prone to not holding leads throughout the course of the season. So that's definitely an approach I'm going to take. Mikey, what do you think here? Red Wings, Kraken.
Yeah, this series history has been a massive over series, 5-0-2 in all of the 7 meetings since Seattle entered the league. I was concerned like you. Why is the price so low on Detroit? I mean, Seattle is 6-10 since January. Here are the teams that Seattle's beaten: Buffalo twice, Pittsburgh twice, San Jose, and LA. That's Seattle's 6 victories since January. But if you do like Detroit, you might as well wait and see if Seattle finds the back of the net first, because that seems to be a theme on this road trip. But right now, I'm just strictly keeping it on the first period over and riding that trend.
All right, good stuff. And as far as goaltending tonight, they've been alternating Talbot and Lyon the last few, so I'm not surprised it's Talbot here tonight. Joey Decord in net for Seattle. We will see how it goes. Yeah, Detroit's playing better defense, Brent. Totally get that, totally respect that. But, when we see these total streaks to the extent they are for both of these teams, we gotta bet it, even with those concerns that Detroit is playing a little better defensively. At least I do. We're talking 14-3 first period over for Seattle, 4 straight for both of these teams coming into tonight first period over. So, like I said, I'm on the over bifecta, but I definitely like the first period part of that more. Goal props here tonight. Kakko is the one guy to look at for Seattle. Kakko's been really good. Tolvanen has been a little bit better lately for Seattle. For Detroit, I'm going back to Casper, the friendly betting ghost. One more time here. He's still up on that top line with Larkin and Raymond. Larkin's been just tremendous. I mean, I can't say enough. DeBrincat, Kane's back now on the second line as well for this team. Talk about how their blue line keeps getting better. Seider, Sherratt's been a nice pair. Edvinsson keeps getting better and better and better for this team as well. So that's definitely helped in this Red Wings team and the run that they have put together. All right, next up, we've got Colorado and Vancouver. Colorado currently minus 150 road favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5 across the board in this game. We saw, obviously, the Avalanche in their last game get the job done and blank the Philadelphia Flyers on Sunday afternoon. I don't know how impressed you want to be with that. Philadelphia's had their offensive issues, but they're out off back-to-back shutout wins, Flyers and Blues. That would be an interesting thing. Maybe I ought to put Jonathan Davis to work again one more time for me. I feel like he's my gopher sometimes. I say, Jonathan, feed me this info. Tell me what this is. What's the record for teams off back-to-back shutout wins this year? I'd be interested. So Colorado's in that situation. Do you keep it up? Does the momentum keep going? Or after 2 dominant wins like that, 2 shutout wins, do you maybe, you get a little, you're feeling your oats a little bit and you start to think, we're pretty good right now at this point in time. So like I said, I'd be interested to know what teams are doing off back-to-back shutout wins. Does complacency set in? Is what I'm trying to say. That you played so well that maybe you're due for something to not go well. We'll see, but I don't know if I trust Vancouver. That's the problem. They've lost 2 in a row. It was a decent effort against Detroit, but they lost in overtime. We'll see how this one plays out. When you look at Vancouver right now, I don't want to lay this with Colorado at -150, but I'm a little reluctant to fully trust Vancouver as well. There are some, again, this is more of a prop game for me. There are some props that I do like here for this game. We'll get to those in just a moment. It is worth noting, by the way, believe it or not, Avs versus Canucks. We have seen the under cash in 5-4-1 to the under the last 10. And I know in Vancouver, the last 2 have gone under as well between these two teams. I could see it, maybe it being a little bit tighter checking, a little bit lower scoring here. It is, by the way, in this game, goaltending wise, Thatcher Demko is in for Vancouver. Of course, Quinn Hughes is out. And as long as he's out, that hurts Vancouver in so many different ways with what he's able to do. Mackenzie Blackwood projected for Colorado, but not confirmed yet. So this is more of a prop game for me. Alex, what do you think here? Avs, Canucks.
This is another pass on a big card. Wasn't anything that I really liked in this spot. Vancouver's one of those teams that I've just been kind of struggling to read, so it's a pass.
Nothing wrong with that. Mikey, what do you think? Colorado, Vancouver.
Yeah, no Quinn Hughes, so that's a problem if you're trying to back Vancouver. But also, Vancouver's one of those teams. They've been going on extended skids. They'll face a good team. You'll be like, oh, they're about to get blown out. They'll win. I mean, they lost 4 in a row in the beginning of January. Then they blanked Toronto 3-0. Lost 2 in a row again. Beat the Oilers. Lost 2 in a row. Beat Washington. So sometimes they'll just surprise you. But without Quinn Hughes, it's tough. So I don't have anything in this one.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, next up, we've got the Dallas Stars and the Anaheim Ducks. Dallas -250, road favorites. The total here, 5.5 across the board in this one. First period over. Another one of these for me. 8-2 to the first period over for Dallas suddenly in their last 10 games entering tonight. Also, I think it's goal in the first 10, 5 straight. I thought it was first period over 5 straight. No, goal in the first 10 minutes, though, is cashed in 5 straight for the Dallas Stars entering tonight. I like the over in the first period. Again, 8-2 first period over run for the Dallas Stars. It was a system play first period over for me with Anaheim in their last game against Montreal, and it cashed. So we'll see, hopefully another first period over in them. That was a nice comeback for Anaheim. It hurt me a little bit because I was on Montreal, but nice comeback for Anaheim, beating Montreal 3-2. They've won 4 of the last 5, Anaheim, so we'll give them credit. But this Dallas team is playing great. They've won 5 straight. They've been pushed by Vancouver and Columbus the last 2 games, but they ended up victorious. They're getting healthier. They got Mason Marchment back from injury. But Maverick Bourque, just as they're starting to get healthier, Sagan's still out, obviously, and now it looks like surgery out indefinitely for Miro Heiskanen, which is so unfortunate. And now Maverick Bourque obviously took a puck the other night against Columbus. He's been ruled out for this game tonight against Anaheim. I'm tempted by what I cashed with in the last game with Dallas. Give me Anaheim to score in the first period. I'm kind of interested in that, And this is not the -300 favorite or higher, where that triggers that bet immediately for me when I see that. -300 favorite or more. It's been good. We're going to look to bet the underdog to score in the first period of those games where it's a -300 favorite or more. This is not that, because Dallas is only -250. But I still think we see it from Dallas from time to time. They're prone to giving up an early goal in the opening period. I could see that here against Anaheim tonight, kind of a flat spot, just to start in the road trip, but you're coming off the 2 home wins. That maybe early in the game you're a little not on your toes and you give up that first 20-minute goal to Anaheim. And it's only, by the way, the price to bet Anaheim to score in the first period is -126. It's very reasonable. So I think Anaheim
-118 at MGM.
Yeah, and I got to start looking at FanDuel because Mikey pointed this out to me that the FanDuel prices on these are pretty good. So FanDuel's probably got a pretty good price on it too. But Anaheim to score in the first, I think, is worth a look, and I like the first period over. Those are the 2 things I'm eyeing here in this game. Alex, what do you think? Stars, Ducks.
See, I'm like first period over. I lay at $1.12 with that at FanDuel, but I'm going to over. I'll go both teams to score rather in the first period, also +190. And I'm looking, like I said, at BetMGM, you can get Go over a half a goal for Anaheim in the first period, minus 118, or you can take a one flat at plus 250. So I might take a couple of small shots with those as well.
All right, good stuff. There are a couple props for this game for me. We will get to those, by the way, in just a moment. But yeah, definitely, like I said, it'll be interesting because, I feel from a spot standpoint for Dallas, coming off those 2 home wins, and you got Anaheim here. And they have played well against Anaheim here at Honda Center. They won 6-2 last year, and then 2 visits here last year, 3-2 and 6-2. Were the final scores, both in favor of Dallas in those games. Anaheim did score in the first period in one of those 2. Mikey, what do you think? Stars, Ducks?
Yeah, prior to Montreal's game, Anaheim scored in 5 straight. They've been very good at scoring the first goal of the game as heavy dogs. Like you said, FanDuel, minus 112 for Anaheim to score a goal in the first period. My only concern is Ottinger has fantastic numbers against them. That's my only worrisome, so I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I've got nothing in this one.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, just quickly on props here for this one. There's a couple that do stand out because I think we do have some lineup changes here for Dallas a little bit. Stankoven, that's the one. Stankoven's moved up with Robertson and Hintz. I think Stankoven's got great value. I think Granlund, by the way, has seen a lot of Anaheim as a member of the San Jose Sharks. This could be the night for him to get his first with the Dallas Stars. Granlund to get a goal, Granlund to get a point maybe. Dodonov we've talked about as well. And Thomas Harley props. We're going to keep riding those. I forgot to mention, too, the Colorado-Vancouver game. Elias Pettersson is undervalued right now because without Miller, there's probably a weight off his shoulders right now. So any Pettersson props, I would be more willing to take a shot with those now for Vancouver.
Number 40, Elias Pettersson.
That's the Elias Pettersson that's been there for years.
Right.
Yeah, not the defense.
Yeah. I think he's marked as either number 40 or they put his birth year, which I think is 95. Yeah, to mark that. So yeah, please make a note of that when you're betting any of his props.
Yeah, Kooky, lend me Lacombe. Perlo says, over 1.5 in 9 of the last 10 games for Lacombe with over shots on goal. So there's something to keep in mind there. Yeah, Fabry is a good one against Ottinger. He's had success. Fabry's been noticeable. McTavish, yes, McTavish has been great. Does Leo Carlson start to heat up? Because he got a big goal for them against Montreal. You think maybe that gets the second-year man going a little bit more. We'll see if it does for Anaheim. All right, we've reached the top of the mountain here. Final game of this mega card on this Tuesday. Montreal, San Jose. Montreal minus 180, road favorites. The total here, 6 shaded to the over in this game. They really hurt. They didn't hurt me. It was a loss. I've lost a lot of bets before, but it hurt because they were up 2-0 against Anaheim, and I used it as best bet on Monday's show, and they end up giving up 3 unanswered goals, and they lose 3-2. And when you see them struggling, and they're on this losing streak right now, Montreal, and then you lose to a team that you think you're good enough to beat, and you don't, and you blow a 2-0 lead. It's difficult for me to put my money on you and come back to you the next game. That being said, this is there for the taking for Montreal. To me, San Jose is just in a terrible way right now. They're 2-8 in their last 10. The only win in their last 8 was against Pittsburgh at home, 2-1 in a game they were outshot. They are not playing any good at the moment. They can't keep the puck out of their net. They've given up 4-4-6, 7-6, 7-6. Other than the Pittsburgh game, they have given up 6 goals or more in 5 of their last 6, 4 or more in 7 of their last 8. They can't keep the puck out of their own net. I'm going to go definitely Montreal team total over 3.5. Montreal's got to get 4 goals tonight. You got to think so. I think that's the best way to approach it. I mean, I certainly could make a case for Montreal -1 or Montreal in regulation, but I don't want to mess around with that. Just trust this team to get 4, I should say, and San Jose's given up 4+ in 7 of the last 8 games. It's time to hit the red alert button for Marty St. Louis and company if they don't win tonight. Then it becomes really, really problem. They are falling out of the race right now with this little skid. And it's only a 5-game skid, but they have fallen and lost so much ground. You know why, guys? Because Ottawa's winning. Detroit's winning. All these teams around Montreal that they are battling with for a wild card spot are winning. Meanwhile, they're tanking. They've lost 5 in a row, Montreal. So it's not just that they're losing. It's that the teams they're battling with are all winning right now. And it's made for a tough stretch that has put Montreal a little bit behind the 8 ball now in this wild card race. So they desperately need to stop the bleeding. They've got the right opponent to do it. The question is, are they good enough? I'll take a shot with them, but I'll do it with the team total. Montreal team total over 3.5 at even money. Alex, what do you think here? Final game, Montreal, San Jose.
Yeah, I will take a shot with them in regulation. I'm going to lay the minus $1.05 with the Habs. Like I said, this is a must-win game for them. And I said this when we bet the future. I said this could be a bit of a tricky spot, and that this will be a team that for sure will even be able to kind of lift up and bounce back after the break. But I wasn't expecting them to just completely lose in these stretch of games. So I hope they can end this streak tonight. Like I said, this will be a team to where now, if you didn't jump on them, futures wise, even like maybe look at a points total over, that's something I would probably be looking at now, because I think this is one of the teams, and we haven't talked about that a lot. I guess we will as we head, of course, into this weekend. Teams that are looking, toward the break where they can, will benefit from the rest, and some teams that it might hurt. I think Montreal is one of the teams where it would help them getting to this break. So Habs in regulation minus $1.05.
All right, Montreal in regulation minus 105 here for Alex in this one. Mikey, what do you think here? Habs, Sharks.
Yeah, massive under series when these teams meet, but I mean, they don't play that often. So I'm just going to focus on the first period. First period, Montreal minus a half at, I believe it's $1.45.
Also, Georgiev in net for San Jose, and we know how bad the first periods have been with him starting.
Yep.
Yeah, first period, Montreal.
There you go, first period. I might sprinkle on first period too, but I like the team total here.
Maybe Habs to score a goal in the first period.
Yeah,
I mean, look at that.
It could be. Prop-wise, there are a few. For Montreal, you know what I'm going to buy into? He got benched by Marty St. Louis, but he is in the lineup, it looks like. Patrick Laine. You knew it was going to happen. You knew that guy was going to get benched at some point. He's Patrick fucking Laine. You got to expect, his lazy ass is going to get, stapled to the bench at some point. And he was finally by Marty St. Louis, but he's not scratching him. He's back in the lineup. It's a kick in the ass. Usually players respond. You got to hope Patrick Laine does that here tonight. So maybe you look at Laine props here for Montreal tonight after that, scolding, if you will, by Marty St. Louis in this one. For San Jose, there's a lot of interesting props because Eklund's playing with Celebrini. It looks like, by the way, they've called up into the lineup here. And I'm seeing on some sites they might try him in the top 6. This is another guy that in the American Hockey League, like we talked about Isaac Rosen with Buffalo, he's been lighting it up in the American League. So is this guy in the American League. 18 goals, 45 points in 41 games. Andrew Podoralski. I remember this guy playing in the Seattle organization, Coachella Valley, when they made those Calder Cup runs back-to-back years. Really good player, especially down there. Can it translate to the NHL level? But I'm going to be searching for, first of all, I want to see where he is in the lineup, Andrew Podoralski tonight. But if he's in that top 6, that is worth a prop bet, in my opinion.
Definitely.
For him tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's a quality goal scorer. He was one of the guys along with Stefan Nason on that Wolves team that won the Calder Cup a couple of years ago. That was dynamite. So, yeah.
Yeah. Worth a look again, especially I'm seeing that Ryan Warsofsky might put him on the top 6 tonight. So even more reason to maybe look in his direction prop wise, if that's the case. Whew, I need a break now. That was a hell of a card, all in 90 minutes, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Just quickly, because we mentioned it off the top, but we want to mention it again. Patreon exclusive live betcast Thursday night, February 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us. And the way to join us is being a Patreon member, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. Goalie charts, totals charts, access to the betcasts that are exclusive to Patreon members, including this Thursday. And of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show. Make sure you get on board. Live exclusive betcast this Thursday night. Be there by becoming a Patreon member. $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We got 2 days left for free standard shipping. Go to the main page, click on the redeem button. Free standard shipping will be added and available to you as you go to checkout. We got everything in stock right now, all sizes and hoodies, all caps are in stock, all of the new merch as well. So check that out right now, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
I knew he'd have it for me. Teams off back-to-back shutout wins. We talked about how they play the third game after the back-to-back shutout wins, which is Colorado tonight. There it is. Boston, they went 0-1 off a back-to-back shutout wins, but everyone else went 1-0 and made it 3 straight wins: Dallas, Winnipeg, and Washington. So there's the stat on that. All right, we've got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgater Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, Bargain Bin Special of the night. No show yesterday, but my gosh, 2-0 sweep. 2 bargain bins on the one game in the NHL, and they both cashed. Shane Pinto and Ridley Gregg for the Ottawa Senators. See if we can follow that up tonight. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain Bin Special, what do you got?
Yeah, that's a hell of a hit. Congrats on grabbing both of those. We're going to go head out to Beantown, Boston. They're taking on the Minnesota Wild. And like I said, it's been the Wild. They've had to deal with a lot of different in and out players in and out of the lineup for various different reasons. Marcus Johansson's the guy I'm looking at. Get him anytime goal scorer plus 500 at Caesars. I'm seeing plus 475 at DraftKings, plus 410 at FanDuel, but plus 500 seems to be the best price available for Marcus Johansson to get a goal tonight for the Minnesota Wild.
Marcus Johansson for the Minnesota Wild for Alex B. Smith to score a goal, his Bargain Bin Special of the night. What do you like here, Mikey, for you, Bargain Bin Special?
Heading to the pond in Anaheim, we'll take McTavish anytime goal. 6 goals in his last 5 games at plus 360. Worth a shot.
Yeah, for that kind of production lately, 6 and 5. Pretty good choice. Mason McTavish for the Anaheim Ducks for Mikey with his Bargain Bin Special of the night. My Bargain Bin Special of the night, I am going with 2 for Bargain Bin Special. Columbus Buffalo, I like Cole Sillinger for the Columbus Blue Jackets, plus 350 for Bargain Bin Special of the night. Like I said, he is up on the top line now with Fantilli getting an opportunity. I think there's absolutely outstanding value there with that. And I didn't want to give Isaac Rosen because he's on the list too of bargain bin considerations, but he's plus 290, 280 in a lot of spots. There are some books that have him above the threshold, plus 300, FanDuel plus 310, DraftKings plus 340, but there are a lot that are under that. So it's on the it's a fence straddler, if you will, with Isaac Rosen, but that was definitely on my radar too. But I will go with Cole Sillinger as my first at plus 350 for Columbus. And the other one that I'm going to go with here, I'm going to go to Toronto, Calgary. Holloway's a good choice, but I've used Holloway a bunch. It's a really good contender for bargain bin too, but I'm going to go to Morgan Frost. He has played so well in these two games for Calgary. He's plus 425 to score a goal tonight. He got his first goal with the Calgary Flames against Seattle. So I'm going to go with those two. There's a lot of good candidates. I could have gone 7-8 deep, honestly, with bargain bin special tonight, but we'll go with those two. Cole Sillinger, Columbus, plus 350. Morgan Frost, Calgary, plus 425 for bargain bin special of the night. All right, honorable mentions, though, to Isaac Rosen, Dylan Holloway, and I could go on. There's a lot more really good ones tonight. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of, like I said, some good plays, and then obviously on a gigantic card. Let's go with Detroit, Seattle, first period over, 1.5 minus $1.10. It's been a solid trending run, and one of two things can happen, right? Either Detroit continues their hot run, they get out to an early lead, cruise to another victory, or maybe they're a little sluggish being on the road. They're susceptible to giving up 1 or 2 to the Seattle club that has sometimes an explosive offense. Sometimes they go ice cold. So we're looking for goals, 2 of them or more in the first period with Detroit, Seattle. That's the best bet for this tonight.
Yep, that's a good one. I like it too. Detroit, Seattle, first period over. Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Mikey, what do you got for us for best bet? Muted. Gets you every time.
Oh.
There we go. We can hear you. We got you.
Can you get all right? So Vegas -1, plus 121. I know Islanders are on a massive skid that came to an end against Florida, but too many D-men on the injury report. No Barzell, so I think Vegas gets off the schneid here and gets things going. So Vegas -1, plus 121.
All right, to get a better price, Vegas puck line -1 at plus money against the New York Islanders for Mikey with his best bet. He wasn't kidding in our group chat when he's saying that computer's driving him nuts, as we can tell the last few minutes. All right, best bet for me. We're going to go to some late night action here. We're going to go to that last game we talked about. And I can't believe I'm going back to them after they'd let me down Monday, but I'm going back to them tonight. Montreal team total. Over 3.5. I mean, San Jose has given up 4 more in 7 of their last 8 games. It's the Civ known as Alexander Georgiev in net. The price is terrific. It's -102 for this team total on Montreal, over 3.5. I think they get 4 tonight, and they need a win desperately. And I certainly feel more comfortable taking Montreal team total rather than them. They should win, but I like just them asking them to score 4 goals against a team that's given up 4 repeatedly as of late. So Montreal team total over 3.5, -102 for my best bet here for this Tuesday card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Great show, long show, but well worth it. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and for Mikey, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we're back with you tomorrow on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.